Let's draw the Lewis structure of a molecule. The exercise says draw the Lewis structure for C3H8 and C3H6. So starting with C3H8, which is propane, when you draw the Lewis structure for a molecule, the first thing you want to do is draw the Lewis dot structures for each of the atoms in the molecule. And so the carbon, which is going to make the backbone, the Lewis dot structures for those are here. Now each of these dots represents a valence electron, and the valence electrons are less stable when they're unpaired. So we want to bring these atoms together to pair the electrons. So in this case, we can sort of squeeze them like this, and you can see that now the electrons are paired on the sides. And because they're paired, they're more stable. And actually, they're forming a bond. So we can replace those paired dots with lines to show that they've become a bond, like this. Now we still have 8 unpaired electrons, but we also have 8 hydrogens to add. So I'm going to draw in the Lewis structure, the Lewis dot structures for each of those 8 hydrogens. And the unpaired electron on each hydrogen can move into the unpaired electron on the carbon to pair them up, like this. So now all of the electrons in the molecule are paired, which means they're more stable. And those paired electrons are forming bonds, so I can replace each pair of dots with a line, like this. And that's my Lewis structure for the overall molecule. That's what it looks like in 2D. Three-dimensionally, it would look like this. And those are 2 pictures of the same molecule. The one on the left just shows the bonds, so you can see the angles better. And the one on the right just shows the atoms as spheres. But they're the same thing. Let's try to draw the Lewis structure for C3H6. So the first step, as usual, is just to draw the Lewis dot structures for the individual atoms. I'm going to start with carbon since that's the backbone. So those are the Lewis dot structures for 3 carbons. I'm going to bring those together so that they pair some of the electrons up, like that. And now that those electrons are paired, they're really bonds. So I'm going to replace them with lines, like that. Alright, now I have 8 unpaired electrons, and I only have 6 hydrogens. So I can arrange them around this molecule in 2 different ways. The first way is if I put them all either on top or on bottom, like this. Okay, now if I do that, those pairs form bonds, so I can replace them with lines. And the unpaired electrons are on the ends of the molecule. So those can reach around to pair up with each other, and that would form a ring, like this. And that would be the Lewis structure for that. That's the 2-dimensional structure. The 3-dimensional structure looks like this. Now, I could have done that same process, draw the Lewis dot structures, pair them up, replace the dots with lines, and instead of putting the hydrogens just on the top and the bottom, I can make sure they go on the sides, and then just fill the rest in on the top and bottom, like this. If I do that and replace the paired dots with lines, now I'm left with unpaired electrons on 1 carbon on the end and 1 carbon in the middle. So those 2 electrons can come together again to form a second bond between those 2 carbons. And that would be the Lewis structure for that molecule. That's what it looks like 2-dimensionally. 3-dimensionally, the molecule would look like this.